710 ESPN Seattle presents Bob and Groz's One More Thing.
Powered by the law offices of Heidi Hunt.
Fearless, and in my case, feckless football picks next. You still laughing at that?
Feckless.
No,
Good.
You know, the only thing good, if you go back and look at our tape a week ago of a Fearless Friday picks, was me saying after the second after we picked two games, you know what? I think I'm going to be 0-2.
How'd you
You're
do?
going to be 2-0.
You were 0-2?
At that point, I was 0-2.
You were exactly right.
You were 1-1, and you wound up going 2-2 for the week. We did it against the spread, which is kind of tough. And I wound up going 1-3 against the spread. So not very good.
Spread makes it tough.
Well, it makes it more challenging. You're really trying to figure out how the game is going to be played, and that's kind of what we're going to do now. We got big, generous spreads Rockstar to work with this week.
And you always feel like Vegas knows what they're doing. They win more than they lose. And
they do.
So they're not as absurd as they seem at first blush.
Well, we'll see. I mean, now what do we got? Let's start with the Huskies.
17-point dogs.
It was 17.5 to open. It stayed at 17 the entire week against the team. They're playing for the third time in a year. They beat them the last time they played them on a neutral field. It is back there in Nebraska. If you're listening to our show today, you can check out the podcast if you want to, right on the site. Their play-by-play guy talked about how their secondary is beat up. Offensive line is young and inexperienced. What's one of Washington's strengths is their defensive line, even though their defense hasn't been great. It's just hard for me to see 17-point spread in this game.
For me, it feels obvious. I could be wrong on this. I've obviously been wrong before. I'm going to take the Huskies covering. I don't think they're going to win. I think it's asking a lot. It's a tall order on the road this early in the season. But I'm going to take the Huskies to cover that point spread.
I am too. I think they got a great chance, though, in this game. I think they really, if they can avoid, it's almost
you call an
always
upset?
Well, not quite. I think they got a chance, though. I'm worried about the start of the game, to tell you the truth. That's my biggest concern.
If they pull off the upset, you can't then come back on Monday and say, "See, I told you."
Nope, we'll be the same. I'll see. Even if as long as I got them to beat the spread.
We both pick them to beat the spread.
I'm going to be happy. All right, Washington State is playing San Diego State.
San Diego State.
Now, this one is bouncing around some, I think. We got it at 5 points now on, after double-checking it before we went on, 5 points now. Opened at 9. Mm-hmm. So it's gone down 4 points, which seems a lot more logical. It's tough to read Washington State. Their first two games, not against good teams. San Diego State, boy, you got a team that's 2-0, but it's against the likes of Army. They lost Brady Hoke as a coach. They're trying to go 3-0, I think, for the first time in their history.
And I think you and I both believed that Washington was going to lose one of the next three, right? Didn't we do that earlier?
Washington State, we did, yeah.
Washington State, excuse me.
Yeah, because they're on the road. Their next one's Cal on the road, and then UCLA on the road. And I thought this one might be a real tough one for them. And
you go first.
I will go first, and I'm going to say that God love Jim Moore. He's made me a believer. I'm going to say the Cougs cover, and I'll go ahead and call the upset. I'll say that they're even going to win. All I need them to do is cover, but I'm going to say they're going to win.
All right. I'll go the other way, despite the fact that they're the highest scoring team in the nation, I guess, in the FBS, which is just absolute nonsense.
Rockstar Bob.
Nonsense. I'm going to take San Diego State to win.
Okay.
And to cover.
Okay. Which they got a great chance to do, obviously. It would be a big win for Washington State. Well, I don't remember the last time they were 3-0. I can assure you it's been a long, long time. All right, still weird to call it Heinz Field, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why isn't it Three Rivers Stadium? That was so great.
Because Heinz pays a lot more money.
Yeah, they do, and they make a damn fine ketchup, too.
A very good ketchup, that's correct.
Damn fine ketchup. It's, what are we calling the Steelers? 14.5 points. It's, depending on where you look, 14, 15, 16. It's by at least 6 points, the biggest spread in the NFL this week. No other team is more than a 10-point underdog. I think a big part of the reason, Rockstar Bob, this is what these guys will do, even though they don't have the benefit of knowing about this year, they know about last year. Mm-hmm. And they know that the Seahawks have not lost a game by less than 15 points on the road in 2 years. So they kind of feel pretty comfortable putting it at 14.5. Closest road game last year was New Orleans, 34-19, a 15-point loss.
Looking at trends, and the trend is not good.
I think I can speak for both of us here, where we'd like to feel good about this game.
We both want to be wrong on this one, by the way.
I think this might be one of the worst losses in Seahawks history. I'm going to go ahead and say that. Unless, and I'm praying, that Pittsburgh's offense really is out of sync, because I don't think they're going to be able to do anything against Pittsburgh's defense. In fact, I think they're going to turn the ball over, and I think it's going to be real bad there. Maybe Pittsburgh's offense is not supercharged. Everyone kind of thought it was. Remember, the first week changed everyone's mind. Before then, it was, hey, man, they got weapons now. You got Hines Ward. You can throw the ball.
Wallace,
You got Wallace, who's talking about it. I just have a feeling the Seahawks are going to get hurt in this game, and I think this could be, I don't want it to be, but one of their bigger losses, and I'm definitely calling for them to lose and not cover.
Yeah, this sets up to be remarkably ugly.
Yeah.
As much as we don't want it to be that, but there's nothing there that tells you it's going to be anything but ugly. I think the Steelers cover this probably easily.
Yeah.
I hate to say that. I'd love to see I'd love to see the Steelers lose. I hate them.
It's easy. I mean, everyone around here hates the Steelers.
Yeah, so I would. This is one you'd love to be wrong in an I told you so moment, but I just can't see the Steelers who are going to be pissed. They are so angry about how they performed last week, and I think people already jumping off their bandwagon. There's probably even more inspiration, so I see them coming out guns a-blazing, and it's going to be a very one-sided, lopsided affair in favor of the Steelers. They win, they cover.
All right, so we've only disagreed on one.
Yeah.
So we got the wild card now. We're going to do, I think, the Sunday night game, right?
Philly in Atlanta is a 3-point favorite.
Michael Vick returns to the scene of the crime, so to speak. We talked to John Clayton on the show, which you can also check out on the podcast. He, like me, thinks Michael Vick's going to be cheered in Atlanta. I think it might go on throughout the game a little bit. But that alongside of everything else, this is a vitally important game for the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, they do not want to drop to 0-2. They were flat as a pancake in Week 1.
Chicago,
They did not expect to lose. What was it, 30-12? I think to really get their heads handed to them in that game. They, as much as the big thing is a story, they can't pay any attention to that. They have to win this game.
No. I like the Falcons to bounce back.
Yeah,
I like them to come back a lot like the Steelers. They got to prove a point. They're underdogs at home, and they're going to know that coming in. They're going to use every bit of motivation. I like Matty Ice at home, and if he's got to prove a point to the dopes who are going to sit there and cheer for Michael Vick through the entire game, anybody who does that and calls himself a Falcons fan, you suck. You're not a fan. You're a crappy fan. On top of that, yeah, I don't like that. You can be a Vic fan and cheer him through the whole game, help yourself. But you call yourself a Falcons fan and you cheer Vic through the whole game, you stink.
So you're going to go with Atlanta?
I'm going with Atlanta.
And you said Philly's the favorite? Yeah, so you don't need to worry about that. You get 3. I'll go ahead and be different on this one in that I think Vic is going to just come up with a big, huge, honking game in this one. As bad as I know Atlanta needs it, I just... they were really bad last week. They were really bad. And the Eagles, and watching that game against the Rams, they weren't that great. They weren't that great, but you kind of got a sense of a team that's going to win games. I mean, that's what I got.